Hey guys, it's Kevin. So I've been using the Nintendo Switch OLED for about a year now, and it's one of my favorite consoles by far. It can fit any lifestyle with its unique ability to transform into 3 different modes: TV, tabletop, and handheld. There are also tons of amazing games you can't find anywhere else like Mario, Kirby, and Pokemon. Today I'll give you my experience of owning this, updates since launch, and what I hope to see for the next generation. So here's my review of the Nintendo Switch OLED, 1 year later. The Nintendo Switch OLED comes in a smaller box compared to a longer one for the original Switch. It also comes in a new color, white, in addition to the traditional neon blue and red. Inside the box you'll get the Switch, 2 Joy-Cons, a dock with a built-in LAN port, HDMI cable, power adapter, a Joy-Con grip, and Joy-Con straps. The dock does come in white, but since I prefer matte black, I was able to change it thanks to Dbrand. I'll link the Switch and skins in the description box below. Setting up the Switch is simple. Just slide in each Joy-Con, power it on, sign into a Nintendo account, download a game, and you're ready to go. The main reason to get this Switch over the original is for that screen. It's a 7-inch OLED display, so you get those vivid colors, inky blacks, and wide viewing angles. If you see my previous videos, you know how much I love OLED. I actually replayed some of my old games since the new screen makes them look a lot better. If you're not a fan of the saturated colors, there's an option to change that. In System Settings, Console Screen Colors, you can choose between Vivid or Standard. Personally, I'm keeping it on Vivid since I like those punchy colors. One downside with OLED is burn-in, and about 90% of my playtime is done in handheld mode. Fortunately, I haven't experienced it after several hundred hours of gameplay. The resolution is only 720p, so no 1080p or even 4K. It would have been nice, but it's not a deal breaker for me. The bezels are a lot thinner and the screen is now glass. I do have a few scratches on mine, but it's on the pre-installed plastic film. Nintendo added an anti-scattering adhesive film to prevent the glass from breaking into smaller pieces. The design is very similar to the original Switch, but with some improvements. The frame around the screen is now metal, which makes it more durable. It's a glossy finish though, so it attracts dust and fingerprints easily. I already have scratches and scuff marks on mine. The sides are still made out of metal to support the Joy-Cons, and it has that satisfying click. The rest of the Switch is made out of plastic with the exception of the stand, which I'll get to in a minute. The top, bottom, and back is this black textured finish. I have a couple of marks here and there, but it's held up pretty well. A new feature for this Switch is the wide adjustable metal stand. No more hoping if the Switch will stay put. I'm not good at geometry, but it looks like the stand can open up at a max 135-degree angle. There's a slight resistance when opening or closing the stand, so you know it's not going anywhere while you're gaming in tabletop mode. Under the stand is a micro SD card slot. This Switch now has 64GB of built-in internal storage, but I added an extra 256GB since all of my games are intangible. I find it more convenient to access any game, anytime without having to switch game cards. The Joy-Cons have not changed at all, which is good and bad. If you have different colored ones, you can switch it up for a different look. These white ones were included in the box, but I also have Joy-Cons in, you guessed it, matte black. These are the gray ones, but thanks again to Dbrand. Since these are plastic, I do have some normal wear and tear on them. There's some discoloration from finger oils and scratches from, I don't know. The Joy-Cons and buttons feel like new, but the arrow indentation on the buttons are starting to wear off. Probably from beating my cousins at Tetris too many times. So the infamous Joy-Con drift is still here. I take really good care of my devices, so it might be from a piece of dust or debris inside the controller. If I'm playing a game, let's say Nintendo Switch Sports, the character will automatically move on its own. Luckily, I only encountered this a few times. Nintendo will also fix your controllers free of charge even if they're out of warranty. One of the biggest reasons to get a Switch, regardless of the model, are the games. I have a decent collection of games from exclusive games, to friend and family fun, to JRPGs. My favorite is probably Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It reminds me of the good old Super Nintendo and N64 days. Having 2 or 4 controllers connected to one console, and using items to ruin relationships with family and friends. Like I mentioned earlier, games do look a lot better thanks to the new OLED screen. Despite the Switch having the same CPU and GPU as the original, I haven't had any issues at all. Depending on the type of games you download, they'll come in a variety of sizes. Mine ranges from 100MB to 17GB. If I didn't install additional storage, I would have filled up the built-in one already. Let me know what your favorite games are in the comments down below. Battery life has been pretty good. Nintendo advertises around 4.5 to 9 hours on a single charge, compared to the 2.5 to 6.5 hours on the original Switch. I'm getting around 6 to 7 hours, but it depends on how CPU and GPU intensive the game is. That's plenty of playtime for a day, and when it's time to charge, there's a USB-C port on the bottom. Most of the time I put it in the dock, but other times I use my go-to cable. It charges the MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, Android phone, and more. That's the beauty of USB-C. Since the launch of the Nintendo Switch OLED, there's been 7 updates, but most of them were for bug fixes. There were a few that added nice features to the Switch. The first is support for Bluetooth audio. This was actually added a month before the Switch was released, but it's worth mentioning. The built-in speakers sound good, but now you can use any Bluetooth audio device for better sound quality. There's a slight delay though. When using the AirPods Pro or AirPods Max, it's less than a second, but with the Galaxy Buds Pro, it's very noticeable. You can always use the 3.5mm headphone jack for a latency-free audio experience. Another update brought support for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. This gives users access to classic N64 games, Sega Genesis, and DLC. The last update added groups to better organize your games. They're basically folders so you can sort your games by character, type, or favorites. Many of us, myself included, were hoping for a next generation Switch. Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch Pro, Super Nintendo Switch, whatever they want to call it. But I don't think it will be released anytime soon since sales are doing so well for a 5-year-old console. When that day arrives, I'd like to see Nintendo add 3 things. The main one being 1080p in handheld and 4K while docked. Next, an improved chip for better performance and higher frame rates. And finally, longer battery life for those AAA games. If you don't have a Nintendo Switch, then I would recommend buying the OLED model. With a new 7-inch OLED screen, improved build quality, wide adjustable stand, increased built-in storage, and a LAN port, it's worth paying the $50 extra. If you enjoyed this video, then you might like to check out this one on the PlayStation 5 and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!